Hello everyone, this is Jotto and welcome to my Hunter Rush deck tech. Now, this is something which was supposed to come out last week, but the audio file messed up rather majorly and I didn't have time to record it. I had some other stuff to do and things like that. So, as a result, I'm bringing it out this week since I don't have any other videos planned for this week on Thursday. So, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Now, this particular deck is a improved version of the one I made Legend with this season. The two differences are Deadly Shot instead of one Animal Companion, and Stone Tusk Boar instead of, I do believe, a Timberwolf. Yeah, I think Timberwolf, or it was either Timberwolf or a Arcane Shot, one of the two. But anyway, the entire deck is based around rushing down your opponent from 30 to 0 as quickly as is humanly possible. However, you also have to play some board control, which is what explosives and misdirects for primarily, and you can use Hunter's Marks with this with Unleash the Hounds. Now, pretty much everyone knows about this deck. It's fallen off in popularity a lot recently. Pretty much everyone knows the basics of this particular one, so what I'm going to focus on is more sort of the changes I've made, and also the playstyle options when playing against various different matchups and decks and things like that. Anyway, so the various changes I've made are one Arcane Shot, one Flare. Now, the Flare helps a lot against mages and is also just additional cycling. It also unstealths things against Rogue, although, having said that, generally if you Flare something that's stealthed, it's not that relevant. You want to be going for the face anyway. Arcane Shot helps a lot with Hunter's Mark. It's just extra damage. 1 mana for 2 damage is really efficient. Goes past Taunt. It's like an Abusive Sergeant that goes past Taunt. Really nice card. I really like the 1-off. I played 2, was too much, but 1 is amazing. The rest of the changes: Stone Tusk Boar versus Timberwolf. It's personal preference. You can go for Timberwolf. I personally prefer Stone Tusk Boar because it's better with Hunter's Mark, and it's also better with Buzzard, whereas Timberwolf is better with Unleash. But Stone Tusk, it does more on its own, and that's why I prefer it. It does more on its own, and makes it a lot better with some of the other cards in the deck, not just Unleash the Hounds. So that's why I started playing Stone Tusk with Timberwolf. It's been really nice. Misdirect versus Freezing. Freezing Trap is better against Miracle. Misdirect is better against Control Warrior. So you could play one of each. I think you need Misdirect because you have a bad matchup against Warrior and a good matchup against Miracle Rogue. So there's no need to make a good matchup better and a bad matchup worse. And Misdirect is also quite useful against Druid, so it's just a good idea to have Misdirect as opposed to the Freezing Trap. Rest of the stuff, 1 Deadly Shot versus 1 Animal Companion. Also, this glitch. I don't know what this glitch is. It's the Arcane Shot golden animation overlapped on the Animal Companion. It's really weird, but anyway. 1 Deadly Shot and 1 Animal Companion. Now, the reason for this is Animal Companion is very good against Druid and quite good against Warrior. But besides that, it's just a dead card in many matchups. Against Rogue, it's not that amazing. Against Shaman, it's okay. Against Zoo, it's okay. Handlock is pretty bad. It's not as good as a lot of people have made it out to be. It's a good card, just not as good. Whereas Deadly Shot helps you deal with Stealth Auctioneers, Big Taunts, Ancient of Wars, a big one that you really can't get over without Hunter's Mark, without Deadly Shot. It just improves your Druid matchup. Now, while Animal Companion is good against Druid, it's only really good if you get Misha, or even Huffer is not that good against Druid. Misha is what you really want, whereas Deadly Shot is just always useful. So that's why I switched out for the Deadly Shot. I did try some other stuff like a Timberwolf in this slot, but I did really like the Deadly Shot, and that's sort of what I settled on. And the last sort of interesting change is 2 Arcane Golems, not 1. Some lists do run 1, a lot of the more successful ones run 1. I like 2. I think you do need 2 to beat things like Miracle Rogue and Handlock. You really need that massive amount of burst instantly. Handlock, you want to be bursting him down to about 3 or less from the 15 mark, so you can kill command, hero power, things like that. And against Miracle Rogue, you just need to rush them down on turn 7 if you're going second, and turn 8 if you're going first, to avoid the Leroy combo. So you just need to rush them down as fast as humanly possible, and the second Arcane Golem really helps that out. Now, as for actual good matchups, bad matchups, the deck is pretty much 50% against almost everything. A couple of exceptions. it's about 60% win rate against Miracle Rogue, 40% against Druid in general, and pretty bad against Priest. Priest is really uncommon though. It's mostly Druid and Miracles where the variance comes. It's also very good against Shaman. So it's good against Shaman, and yeah, it's good against Shaman, Miracle Rogue, arguably Handlock, but that depends a lot on the draw. Like, if you draw well, and they don't draw their really fast start, you'll do fine. But if they draw their fast start, and you don't draw the Hunter's Marks, you need to deal with it, you're not going to have a good time. It's really difficult against Handlock if they draw the correct ones. Zoo is one of those 50-50 coin flip matchups. If you get your explosives and your unleashes, you're going to win. If you don't, you're going to lose. Now, the elephant in the room here is Control Warrior. Control Warrior, I have actually found that over time, as you get better with the deck, becomes better. It's around 30% at first, but it gets to about 50 as you start getting better at the matchup. Because misdirect bluffs help a lot against Grommash. They have to wait for... not Grommash, just Grom Hellscream. They have to wait again. They have to wait for their Ragnaros and their Baron Geddons to kill you. They can't really charge in, otherwise they're going to get misdirected. So it helps a ton against them. The other thing is hero powering whenever they hero power. The opportunity cost in your hero power is incredibly high against Warrior. You need to be using it pretty much every turn you can. Even sometimes skipping the better play just for a hero power. Like not using Wolf Rider on turn 3, for example. Using it on turn 5 with hero power can actually be relevant. And it's just things like that. There's a lot of random play elements. This also applies to Priest and Druid a lot of the time. Over the Druid, it's a little less focused. You can still go for the better rushy play as opposed to just hero powering every single time. So the deck at the moment, I would say in the current metagame, is not a tier 1 deck by any means. I think it's tier 2, but it is very good against Miracles, so it's a good one to watch out for in tournaments, I would say. It's a decent ladder deck. Very good one for tournaments if you have a weakness to Miracle, which a lot of lineups actually do. So if you don't know you're running Handlock as a Miracle counter, run the Rush Hunter. It really does deal with Miracles pretty easily, and also Shaman decks very easily. So anyway, as far as the rest of the stuff goes, last bit we're going to go over is various changes you can make. Now, firstly, we've got the Timberwolf, I already discussed. Good with Unleash the Hounds, but pretty miserable otherwise. It keeps getting stuck in your hand. Freezing Trap is much better versus Miracle, especially if Warrior dies off. Then Freezing Trap is a very good addition. Hunter's Marks already help with the Handlock, so you really don't need a second Deadly Shot. And it's same with Druid, you don't need a second one, I would say. Second Animal Companion though versus the one Deadly Shot, I don't particularly like it anymore, but I did ladder a lot with 2 of Animal Companion, and it worked pretty well. So I would say that's actually a fine change you can make to the deck, and it works really well. Not many other Hunter cards really work well in this kind of deck. The other things I have seen are Argent Squires, which seem a little too tame. You really want these explosive 1-drops in Lepronome and Abusive Sergeant, and Worgen Infiltrator is another one you can look into. But besides that, there isn't much else you can really go for. The deck is very universal. The only other change I would suggest even trying would be Cal. That's about it. It helps get over Hounds, but it's one of those things where it's like marks and you have the draw engine with Unleash the Hound, Starving Buzzard. You're probably going to get your way around Taunt anyway. Brian Bical can help additionally there, and it's also an extra beast for kill command. So there are a couple variations to the deck you can actually make. It's not as clear-cut as a lot of people seem to think it is, but this is the version that I've sort of got around to. I'll put a link to the full list on Hearthbone in the description. But anyway, as for now, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback or just want to ask me any questions about the particular deck, put it in the comment section below. As for now, this has been Jotto, signing off.